Welcome to The Third Side with your host, John and Stacey Edwards from thirdsideparanormal.com. Hello and welcome to The Third Side. I'm your host, John Edwards, and joined as always by my lovely wife, Stacey.
Hello.
And we are on episode 4, like the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. I'm very happy about that. It's a magical number.
Any way to slip in something about the 4 horsemen, huh?
Yeah, because actually my favorite number is 3. Anybody who listens ever will eventually know that. And I mean, you know, it's 4's cool though. If I couldn't have 3, I'd probably go 4. Okay. No, I'd probably go 7. But then
4.
Definitely 4.
I think we're off topic.
No, it'd probably be 6. I mean, really, it'd be 3, 7, 6, and then 4. Episode 4. But we've got a fun show for you. It's very exciting. And before we get into anything, I want to shill a few things because I like to do that. Facebook.com/thirdside. That's one of the best ways to, find out what's going on with us and interact. And if you have any questions about any of the guests we've had, or if any of our shows have done anything bad to your pets in the house, if they seem possessed now, anything like that, it's a good way to get a hold of us and let us know that so we can have some pictures of those pets in action. Twitter.com/threesidepara or at threesidepara. I don't know who writes this stuff, but I probably would have just said at threesidepara had it not been written that way.
Sorry.
thirdsideparanormal.com. Now, that's we told you the website was coming. Mm-hmm. The website has came. And it has came all over the place. thirdsideparanormal.com is incredible. It's a way to get a hold of us. It's a way, like, even if you wanted to do something crazy, like have us there for an investigation when we in bed with your team. We don't get in bed with your team. That's extra. But we will in bed with your team. And, come, we can teach, learn and teach.
Laugh at you.
Laugh at you.
Whatever you want.
I mean, there's people out there that's taken us up on that before. Alan Marston. How are you doing out there? One of our friends of the show. Mm-hmm. I thought I'd give a little shout out. Apocalyptic Paranormal, how you doing? Everybody better like the show now. Every one of you, I see you out there, okay? I see every one of you out there. National Paranormal Society, I used to be the rep for the state. Actually, I was a rep for 2 states, I think. But I was a rep for Virginia at one time. All you guys, I bet you better like the show right now. I know where you live because I got friends in the NSA. It's just the way it works. Whenever it's time to have those things, I'm going to have it. Be the first one in line to get the chip. Me, right here. YouTube channel, just search Third Side. That's the easiest way to do it, and you can see us, and also on iTunes.
We're on iTunes.
And
you can just go to the website, actually. It's got links for every single thing, every way you could possibly listen or watch. There's actually other places to listen to the show besides iTunes. They're all listed on there.
Wow.
Everything.
Somebody that made that website must have really went the extra mile.
I think they did.
I mean, they should really be commended. But, too bad for us. We don't like to, give that kind of information out. I mean, because then...
give credit or anything.
It was her.
Well, my name's on it at the bottom. You think I didn't do that?
Yeah, of course it is.
Anyway, you can get all the links for all the news for every episode. And I actually just put up random news blogs every few days.
She's
just
a very random person.
That kind of thing.
Every now and then there might be a picture of a bunny, an owl.
Only if it's funny.
An owl scooping down and taking a bunny away.
No, that's mean. But if it's cross-eyed or has two heads or something, I'm totally putting it on there.
So you'd have something against cross-eyed bunnies?
No, I just put it on the website. So
Oh, you
see
have
it.
a picture of it. You don't want to rid the world of them.
Right.
All right. Well,
I don't actually have a picture of a cross-eyed bunny. It was just an example.
If you have a picture of a cross-eyed bunny, please send it to us now.
So we can put it on the website?
Yeah, it'd be the easiest way to do that would be facebook.com/thirdside. All cross-eyed bunnies are welcome. And I will keep them away from Stacey. But like I said, we have an exciting news-oriented show for you today. No?
We have a guest today.
We do have a guest?
Yes.
Wow. I'm just playing. I knew that. Our guest today, and he'll get the humor out of this. He will get the humor out of this. Our guest today, we had him on that other show. The more
That
we
one
do
we
this,
used to do.
I forget what that other show was.
What was that called? I don't know.
Something about
Something
handcuffs
ghost or
and
haunted or
people
or-
said they had two hosts that had good synergy. with
Something.
Something.
Anyway.
Haunted South. We used to have him on the Haunted South quite often, probably at least 3 times.
At least.
At least 3 times. And most of those shows, were really unpopular out of the whole nest of the shows that we did. But I'm just playing.
Did you just say they were unpopular?
I'm just playing. It's humor. It's humor. It's what we like to do. This guy, Wes Forsythe. Wes Forsythe has ihuntghosts.com. And he also is the host of Paranormal Filler, which is a fantastic podcast. If you haven't listened to it, you need to go out of your way to listen to it. And it's hosted by Live Paranormal. These cats are everywhere. They've got it at Scarefest. They've got it, and we'll talk to him about how Scarefest was today as well. But Wes is a very opinionated man. He's funny. He's almost as funny as me. And he has opinions that rival mine. And in some aspects, we are very much the same person. And I have a hard time interviewing him because
he talks like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Nothing.
No, I mean, like, talks like me and like
Like
smart,
his ideas.
intelligent.
Yeah, of course.
Funny, clever.
Of course.
Right. That's what we were talking about.
That's what we were talking about.
All right. I'm watching you. And if I'm not watching you, somebody always is.
I'm sure.
Just putting that out there, But Wes is an exciting guest. Honestly, it's some of the most popular interviews we've ever done. And all joking aside, because Wes knows a little bit about everything and not a whole lot about nothing. He has a lot of great guests come on his show as well. And when I have other paranormal hosts on the show, I like to see what you've taken from that, whether it's ufology, cryptozoology, the paranormal, conspiracy theories. I like to see, I didn't even do it right. You got a little pyramid over my eye. Maybe Justin could put a pyramid in somewhere. All seeing eye. Just saying. But I like to, see what you've learned along the way, what your paranormal journey has brought you, and that's what we'll do today. Really exciting guest. But before that, everybody's favorite segment, I think it's time for some paranormal news.
It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact.
All right, paranormal news for this week. I didn't want to say the show number just in case I got it wrong.
Well, at least it wasn't last week.
That's right. Okay, so the first story we're going to do is about a story from India. And it's about kind of a...
Stupas?
No. Damn. You love stupas, though. You just like to say stupa, I think.
Stupa's a cool word.
Anytime he sees anything shaped like a stupa, it's like, oh, stupa.
Well, it's because there's a lot of stuff shaped like stupas.
Anyway,
Washington.
This has nothing to do with stupas.
All right.
Okay. This is a story about some kids that won't go to school because there's a ghost scaring them away.
I use that
supposedly.
excuse.
Yes. Not like this, though, I don't think. This is from India. And what happened was 6 students fell unconscious within within a short time, triggering rumors of a ghost taking up residence in a tree next to the school building.
This is a nature spirit.
And they say that they've been visited by a demon or a Ramayan.
A Ramayan?
Yeah. It takes me a second to say it. I don't know why. And
I ate some Ramayans before we came.
what these 6 students say is that
What do 6 students say?
hey, I'm really happy I got that out without messing it up.
I mean, just quickly, how do they say it?
They say that the demon wants the 25-year-old plum tree to be chopped down and for each of them to sacrifice a goat and distribute the meat among the locals to appease it.
Oh my God. Can me and Justin go now?
You're not a local.
We can become locals. We can sacrifice goats to a 25-year-old spirit tree. That's awesome.
So anyway,
all right,
they took the students to the hospital. And of course, they're saying it's mass hysteria. Some of the other students in the school were kind of saying they were feeling ill and that sort of thing.
Is it mass hysteria if only 6 students? Or
I don't know. It's
I mean, you realize
mini mass hysteria.
The significance of the number 6.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. The first girl that became unconscious, her father says that she has been acting weird and that she's scolding and sometimes becoming aggressive when she's approached. And
how old are they?
She actually,
I could explain that.
Doesn't actually give their exact ages. 4 of them were like in the same class, and there was 2 that were like a couple years younger than them. But school age, obviously. You know, but that she actually lost consciousness again for a short period of time, a couple days later. And then there was one of the younger students stayed in bed most of the time. I mean, 6 days they were in the hospital. That's a long time.
Right. Well, I mean, are they mostly all female? Because that could explain it
all
as well.
female and 1 boy.
I mean, you get a bunch of adolescent females around. It's a kind of like the mixture there.
Mostly all female, just one boy.
Okay.
But it doesn't say anything. He could have been effeminate. Who knows?
Right.
It doesn't say anything about it.
We're not judging.
No. But one of the younger ones had a blank look on her face, and they say she cries out in sudden fits and attacks people at random, and that she stopped talking and just uses pen and paper to write down the things that the Ramayan wants.
That's the creepiest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
The blank stare and writing down what he wants.
After this happened, a couple days after this happened, there was one day...
Exorcism, people.
There was one day where no students showed up at school at all.
Right.
Like, nobody went to school.
I can see that.
Yeah, because they were like,
I mean, as soon as
we're not going.
blank Ethel comes over to the house to play.
So, but they had a meeting, and
I mean, come on. I mean, this is how much you have to do. Does her head have to spin around, spit some pea soup? I mean,
I don't know.
All right.
Well, they had a meeting.
Right.
And they decided to bring in a spiritual healer to use charms and chants, basically do an exorcism.
Basically.
Yes.
Okay.
And the school's headmaster...
She'd be strapped down with heavy leather straps with a holy Bible and some Catholic old priest that...
Would that go over in India?
With someone spotting the priest since they are around children. And, I mean, that was
a low blow. Anyway, the school's headmaster says he has his suspicions about it, but he's waiting for new evidence to come to light before he can unravel the mystery or whatever. So, I don't think if a kid's pulling a prank to get out of school that they could make it last where they were in the hospital for 6 whole days.
No.
I mean, you would think the hospital would know that there was not something wrong with them.
And it's India too, right?
Right.
These kids aren't interested in not going to school. They're wanting to go to medical school. I mean, it's...
you think?
Yeah.
You don't think that's a stereotype or...
I'm not, no, that's unfair. I'm not stereotypical at all.
Okay.
Well, I'm not a stereotyper.
Is that how you'd say that?
I don't know. How would you say that?
A person who stereotypes other people?
I'm a stereotypist. I mean...
No, you're not a stereotypist. That's what you're trying to say.
Right. No, I'm a recovering stereotypist.
Okay. You are recovering.
Yeah. I mean, there's, you know what? I think people are too scared these days. Mm-hmm. I think that people are too afraid of what they're saying is going to offend someone. And I'm just not that guy. Like, I've got a lot of friends that are Indian.
Well, we can always, Justin.
Isn't that what you're supposed to say?
I don't know. Justin can always put a disclaimer on the bottom that says, the studio doesn't agree with anything John says. Anyway. Okay, next story. We'll leave that story for now.
I want to follow up on that one.
Okay. Right. I'll keep an eye out on it.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, and try and get a follow-up. Okay, so let's do a couple of UFO sightings just real quick that we can talk about. First one's a UFO that was spotted over Budapest, Hungary. And I really liked this one. There wasn't so much of an article. It's mostly just a video, which Justin will play right now somewhere in the screen. I don't know if it's right here.
I hope he plays it up here.
He probably will. Just so.
Instead of down there.
It's going to move around the screen. Okay, anyway. So it's not a very long video, but the thing I thought was really interesting about it is there was a lot of storm. It was a storm and a lot of cloud coverage.
Right, and we've noticed that before.
Just been talking about that. Exactly. About how every time there's a storm, a lot of cloud cover, it's good camouflage, and that's when you'll get some UFO sightings. But this is one where you're looking at the clouds. It comes out for like not long, a few seconds, but you can see it. I mean, it's not fuzzy. It's not like the camera's going like this. You know, there it is right there.
Right.
And it looks like the little saucer, and then it just kind of goes back up into the clouds. But it's very cool.
Where was this?
Budapest.
Did it look like a stupa?
No, it did not look like a stupa.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly. I watched it this morning, but if it's the one I'm thinking of, it looked like one of those old UFO, like the hat, you know, like with the round and the little thing on top.
That's pretty cool.
I'm not sure. If that's not what it looks like, just don't hold me to that because I'm not looking at it right this second. But
I hope you're actually wrong on that one.
You just want me to be wrong.
Just for the music alone.
Okay. You'll put a big wah 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 in there. She's wrong. Okay. Anyway.
He lives for that. We're speaking of our director, our unseen director. You'll know him eventually.
They'll never put a face to. Oh, go to our website.
There you go.
Look at the About page.
Yeah. You'll never be the same.
Anyway, so that was one of the UFO sightings that...
If you meet him, not if you see him.
I think that you should definitely check out.
Right.
The other one is from Florida. Fort Lauderdale.
Really?
Fort Lauderdale.
From Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, you been there?
I've been there once.
Yeah.
I don't remember much.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Somebody was driving southbound along 95, and they reported photographing a fast-moving UFO, and they actually reported it to MUFON. And the reason that they were taping is because there was a double rainbow in the sky.
Oh, I love this one.
Yes, so this isn't one of those instances where you go, well, why were they just randomly taping the sky while they were driving down the interstate?
Every time I see it, who doesn't do that?
Yeah.
You see a beautiful rainbow, you start just recording right then. You start taking pictures.
We actually stopped to take pictures of a rainbow recently, and a cop pulled over. Why are you stopped in the middle of the road? We're like,
yeah,
rainbow.
I mean,
what's wrong with you? Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool because it's not something where you're questioning the motive. They're actually filming this double rainbow, which is beautiful.
Yeah,
by the
double
way,
rainbow.
It's like a added bonus to the video.
And just
there
like
it was.
that, you remember that picture we saw not long ago? It was a rainbow, and lightning was striking the plane because it was going through the rainbow.
Right in the rainbow.
And I'm telling you, there's a leprechaun somewhere going, you're not getting my gold. You're just not. And that's probably what happened here.
Not stereotypist. Right there.
Stereotypist. Yes. The not stereotypist.
Yes. That's going to be your new... The not stereotypist. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to pull... Those were like two of the best UFO ones I had seen recently, so I wanted to mention both of those. So you could see them.
So you're not even touch the leprechaun part?
No. If you're watching the YouTube show, you've already seen the video really small in the corner. If you're not watching the YouTube and you're watching just you're watching the audio play. I don't know. You're listening to the audio on one of the audio things.
The audio thing. Is that the technical term?
Yes, it is. You can go to our website.
Join us on audiothings.com. I hope there's not one.
There's going to be a video of me killing John here in a second, too. You can get to the website. I do put up the links for the news, like we mentioned before. And, of course, all the links for all the videos will be there. And you can just find them really easily. So.
Sweet.
Okay. Ghost story next.
Ghost story.
Ghost.
I love ghost stories.
So this is a video, but it's a video of a ghost doing something caught on CCTV at a store called Barnsley Auction Centre in South Yorkshire. They thought that intruders...
Not doing a British accent right now, just because it's come to my attention that I do a very poor British accent, and all our friends in England, Wales, the entire United Kingdom, I would shout out to you too, Scotland, but you're kind of half and half right now. I'm sorry. If I've ever done a British accent that annoys or doesn't live up to your standards, I apologize.
I think you did one on one of the previous episodes.
I did.
You did. And I think I made you do it twice.
That's fine.
So I apologize.
That's fine.
I like it. I like your British accent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, anyway.
Continue.
Anyway, they thought some intruders had broken in and smashed the cabinet because there was glass all over the floor. So they went back and watched the video, and nothing in the video. it just is there, and then it's bam, it just breaks. It's really pretty cool.
So let me ask you, is it like continuous video, or is it every 10 seconds?
No, it's CCTV. You can see the time running in the top. And it's like, it said on there that some people said that they thought that they saw something right before it broke. I didn't really notice anything. There is an odd moment when right before the glass breaks where it looks like you can see it moving a little bit or something. I don't know. It's a side view, and you don't see the front of the cabinet. You just see the side view, and then the glass shoots out.
What's their theories on this?
Oh, they think that their place is haunted. As a matter of fact, you can go to their website, barnsleyantececenter.co.uk, and they actually have an entire YouTube channel with different videos of different weird things that have happened in their antique store. It's an antique store.
Right.
I mean, hello.
Which, I mean, every time
of course it's haunted.
Every time we've investigated an antique store, it's like you never know what you're getting.
We go to antique stores just to get our
communicate
paranormal fix.
Right.
Yeah, we haven't investigated in a while. Let's go antiquing.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It is what it is, and objects carry things with them. Some of them do anyway.
But it's really interesting. Like I said, you can go to their website. They actually have a little link for hauntings. They have a link for their YouTube channel.
Is this the part where I can make fun of John Zaffis again?
No, don't make fun of John Zaffis. That was a funny joke. We thought it was hilarious.
I'm
There's
sorry.
nothing against John Zaffis.
No, nothing against him.
We think he's
at all.
great.
It's just 24 karat gold. It's just like, hey, what's that? Is that your gold watch? There is definitely a ghost. I'm taking this with me.
I could take this with me.
I'm taking this with me right now.
If you like. It is haunted.
This is haunted. I'm sorry. Rolex. You got to watch these things.
I'll keep this for safekeeping.
Demonology 101.
Anyway. Very cool video. I'm curious to think what other people think about it, like what they think it is, or if they notice anything. It's interesting because you don't see anything, like nothing flew and broke it. There wasn't, the camera's on there the whole time.
Well, it's
at night.
Jolly old England. It's hard to tell.
No telling. Okay. So next story. From Australia. Some really odd things washed up on the beach at Sydney's Dee Why Beach. It was like this green egg-looking ball things they washed up on the beach. Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, it's something strange to wash up on the beach.
Oh, it is. And they were all over. There's a picture. They're just everywhere. There's these weird green. They're calling them alien hairballs, that kind of thing.
From like an alien cat.
Yes, a big green alien cat. Anyway, there is an explanation for it. I can't believe you just choked up a hairball.
I didn't finish.
That's okay. Please don't. Anyway, there is an explanation. They're saying that it's thought to be a rare type of living algae that was brought ashore by rough conditions, warmer weather, that kind of thing. And it says that scientists think, because they don't actually know, that's your clue right there. When they say scientists think or it's thought to be, that means they don't really know, they're guessing. So just want to point that out.
That's most everything.
So scientists think that the algae might form into balls to protect itself. So it's algae that rolls itself into balls so that fish can't eat it.
Well, that's terrifying.
Anyway, yeah. So, but it's just something, it's very rare.
You can't just stop. What kind of predator caused 10 million algae to roll themselves in furry balls?
Fish eat
but this don't happen all the time.
No, they said it's very rare.
They don't call it Green Ball Beach.
Some of the people that they asked,
why do they call it XY Beach?
What?
Didn't you say it was XY Beach?
D-Y, D-E-E.
Oh, D-Y Beach.
W-H-Y.
I thought it was like an intermingled. Never mind.
Yeah, no. All anyway, I don't know why they do anything in Australia. Just saying. Anyway, some of the...
we got a lot of Australian fans, and I apologize for the insensitive comments from Stacey. Maybe you're a stereotypist.
People in Australia live around animals that could kill you at any second.
They really do.
I don't understand Australia.
It's scary.
It is scary. Anyway.
Like everything there is like...
everything can kill you.
Everything's like the saber version. It's like saber-toothed mosquito, and yeah, it's bad.
And they don't care. They're just like, oh yeah, that could kill you. Don't get too close. You know what?
Yeah, and the snakes, you can't even make it to the hospital.
Anyway, I think we're off topic again.
Die within 7 seconds.
Anyway, some of the professors that they asked have actually said things like they've seen similar things. Sometimes dead seagrass can roll around, that sort of thing. But this is very rare, and I don't think they've ever seen it actually come up on the beach. Obviously not, because we would have heard about it probably before now. It wouldn't have been such a mystery. But one thing that I thought was interesting about this is I saw another article from, I don't remember where I saw it, I'll have to find it again, where it was talking about how there was actually a UFO sighting at this beach in June, which is just, a few months ago.
Right.
And they were trying to connect the fact that there was this UFO sighting at the beach.
They would.
And then several months later, all these weird things wash up on the beach, which obviously there's no connection, but I thought it was interesting that they put that together.
I think it's cool that the algae is intelligent enough to make a
roll up into
defensive ball. I mean, that's like seeing a sponge make a sea bear circle, It's... Come on, sea bear circle's cool.
Sea bear's funny, yes.
Yeah, sea bear's very funny.
Okay, so
For anyone who knows what we're talking about, you just laughed.
Yes, you did. Okay, so anyway, a couple more stories we're going to hit on really quick before we get to our guest. This is one about a crop circle that was kind of found in the countryside that was spotted on satellite.
Okay, we know how I feel about crop circles.
Yes. This is not a typical crop circle like you're used to seeing. They're calling it that. That's not exactly what it is. So there's this historian, and he was researching the Knights Templar, and I don't know what he was looking for on the satellite, but he happened to see this spirally looking shape in a field on the satellite.
Right.
And he doesn't understand why it's there. There isn't really anything around it. It's like just fields and things. And he tried to search for more information about that area and crop circles, and he couldn't find anything, just something from back in 2011 where there was another crop circle there a few meters away from this. I was looking at some of the comments on it, and some of the things people were saying, I kind of agree with a little bit. It looks to me more like a labyrinth type thing, like it's one continuous winding line thing. And according to some people, people have these built to walk through as they meditate. Now, I don't know anything about that. That's just what a lot of people were saying. Oh, I have one of these in my backyard. So, and in the picture, you couldn't see, I want a labyrinth in my backyard, just saying.
We know a guy who probably will have one at some point.
But the picture doesn't show really anything around what we're looking at. So it doesn't show if there's houses or if there's anything, very close to this particular thing. But this guy
researches Knights Templar.
I think he's writing a book or something like that. But he found this, and he said that he thought it was pretty cool because he had never found any record of it, and he didn't know if maybe it was something undiscovered, some kind of archaeological thing.
No, that's really
or something.
cool.
Because it could be. I mean, I could be totally wrong about it.
And if it's anything they're trying to hide, then his research will be unfunded and stripped away very soon.
Yes, so.
Kind of like the guy going to Russia for the bed of, never mind.
Anyway, but just thought I would mention it. I thought it was really interesting. Look at the picture and, let us know what you think about it.
The giant bones.
Oh, yes, the giant bones.
You know what I'm talking about now.
Yes,
it was just discovered this past summer in Russia. Mm-hmm. And they...
Yes, they're missing now.
Yeah.
Nobody knows where they are.
They will not let them discover. Look it up for yourself, folks. Giant bones in Russia. And put 2014 on there. It's a shame. But we can't even do a story on it because powers that be, well, cremation of care.
Our show probably just went totally black screen right now.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
Anyway, last thing I will mention, a story you kind of pointed out to me about the Georgia Guidestones, getting little updates.
Funny we were talking about
conspiracy
cremation
theory type
of care.
Thing. Yeah.
Funny we were talking about pyramids and all-seeing eyes.
This kind of goes more towards the conspiracy theory thing. For anybody who doesn't know what the Georgia Guidestones are, I'm sure there's a book on the screen right now with all the information you need about the Georgia Guidestones. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Ted Turner.
Yes. But there is a place on the Georgia Guidestones, on the English stone where it's written in English, where there was a notch cut out, and there's several pictures, videos where you can clearly see
notchless.
That there's the notch there.
Or the notch, yeah.
So recently, very recently, someone went and was doing a video, and there's actually been a stone put in that notch, a square stone, and it has the number 2014 carved into it. No explanation. Nobody knows why it's there. It's not there to help the structural integrity because obviously the notch has been there for years and years and years. So why is it there? Who did it? Why does it have 2014 on it?
Well, see, here's my thing.
Who knows?
Here's my thing.
Okay, what's your thing?
All right. The Georgia Guidestones have a CCTV camera on them at all times, 24/7. All right, if somebody was in there screwing around, just thought it'd be funny to put something that said 2014 in there, then somebody would have caught them.
Yeah, this isn't a prank.
Removed it.
Yeah, no, it's not a prank.
Now,
it's very professional looking.
I mean, it talks about the mass extinction event. The population control, that they have to keep it below said number to be able to properly maintain the civilization moving forward. Obviously, it's some really New World Order stuff. I mean, it's some very next level top stuff.
Right.
The fact that it could actually stay there. This is the kind of stuff that drives John crazy. I mean, there's only a few things that'll make me refer to myself in a third person. And the fact that the Georgia Guidestones can still be standing with the terrible things that they imply and say is, that's almost as crazy as believing that a bunch of your top politicians would actually go each year for a few weeks and engage in, sexual acts and burn, do a mock human ritual sacrifice and dance naked into the night while a burning owl was going down. I mean, that would be crazy. To say that happened, to say that they picked presidents at that place.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be whack jobs.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that Georgia Guidestones standing with what it says.
Well, that's what money will do for you, I suppose.
That is what money will do for you. When I have that much money, I'm just going to make like a big obelisk, and I'm going to have it say some crazy stuff on it.
You mean an obelisk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Okay. Anyway, that's the news for today.
That was wonderful news.
It's actually an obelisk, but anyway.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I hope you said it wrong.
I probably did.
And it might just be a stupa.
Of course it's a stupa.
And now
Always
for our guest. And now it's time, as I mentioned before, for our guest today. And this one, I know I put him over pretty big at the first of the show.
You did.
But it's only because it's like talking in a mirror at times. One of my favorite guys to ever interview. He kind of runs with it, takes it over. He is the mastermind behind ihuntghost.com. And he also is the host of Paranormal Filler, which, as I said earlier, if you have not listened to Paranormal Filler, go out of your way to do so. And the rest of it, we're going to let this guy do it for himself and do a little bit of shilling. Wes Forsythe, are you there, buddy?
I am here. Hello, John and Stacey.
Hello.
It's good. It's good to hear from you again. It's good to hear from you on the new show here.
It's good to be here, but I do have to interrupt. I hope nobody heard last Sunday's show. That would have been, of course, I realize this is a delay. So today, the 20th or something like that. Oh my God, it was a train wreck.
Well, we all have those.
Yes.
That's
yeah, but you big girls are pre-recording everything. I do it live. I'm on the line, baby.
Oh my God. I remember the live days.
Yes.
We have done live.
Yes,
and,
we understand your pain.
We started off with live, and then we realized that no matter how much people complain, we don't really need a chat room that bad. So that's where, I missed the live aspect of it a little bit, but was it just a bunch of audio problems or?
Every audio problem known to mankind. My co-host sounded like her microphone was in the next room. The guest had this god-awful noise that sounded like a farting train. I don't know what it was. That kept coming over him, and then all of a sudden, I was doing it on Skype, and all of a sudden, first it hung up on me. Just
right.
No warning. No. Oh, your internet connection sucks. It just hung the hell up.
Wow.
And then later on, no one could hear me through the that particular network feed where the guest was. Now, to make matters worse, my syndicated feeds all picked up my audio perfect, so it sounded like I was talking to myself on all the syndicate feeds.
See, now I just want to go listen to the show. I just want to go get that particular show and listen to it.
I have deleted most instances of it. Somebody may have downloaded it quick enough before I got it off the web, but
man, that's going to be
it was bad.
That's going to be your most popular black market show right there. You should. I mean, you just sold it for me, bud. I'm telling you. I remember interviewing this guy, and I won't say his name to prevent any kind of lawsuits or anything. But I remember us interviewing this guy on Haunted South, and he was actually so disrespectful that he was on his cell phone walking through the streets, like going to the grocery store. I mean, I
think he walked into a bar at one point.
He walked into a bar.
So
you hear people like saying his name, like, "Hey, what's up, Norm?" I mean, it was terrible. And this guy had begged me to be on the show. And then when he got on there, he was, I think he was just trying to make it seem like he was so busy.
Yeah, he was just too busy for an interview.
It was, so, I mean, you have winners and you have losers and fun times, and, that's just part of the business, I guess. So that leads me into, why don't you tell us, the people that don't know, tell them about Paranormal Filler and Live Paranormal and I Hunt Ghosts. Just give them a little bit of insight into, why we like you so much.
Yeah, with everything I got going on now, that you might have to break this into a 2-hour show. Very quickly, Paranormal Filler is my weekly show. It broadcasts live on Sunday night. It goes out on liveparanormal.com, Blog Talk Radio, Diversity Network, AM/FM 24/7, and Art Bell's Dark Matter Network, plus a whole bunch of independent feeds around the internet. Now, that being said, basically, it started off, it was going to be a monologue show. It was going to be me talking about my experiences in the paranormal. Well, come to find out, that dried the hell up after like 30 days. So I started doing some interviews. And I had never done interviews in my life. And I really, so I was afraid to do them because I really thought I would suck completely. But somehow it kind of evolved, and before I know it, the show is gaining popularity, and it has become pretty much an interview show. I interview people in the paranormal field, mostly in the ghostology side of it, and mediums and that type researchers. But I am delving into the ufology and the cryptozoology. I don't know enough about it to. Sometimes I'm afraid to hold an intelligent conversation, but it is a learning experience for me. I approach the show with the enthusiasm that I have for the paranormal, and rather than try to come out with any star quality or try to talk down to my guest or anything like that, I just try to hold a conversation with them, and everyone says that my passion and my enthusiasm for the paranormal comes through on the show, and that is what's making it successful.
Yeah, I agree, man. You can't fake that stuff.
Then Live Paranormal is the network that really gave me my launch. I started out independent, then they picked up the show, and they've let me grow. And in the meantime, they've tested me. Every time they have something they want to try out, they throw it into my lap to see if the concept will work. The Paranormal Icon, which I do on Friday nights, is one that did stick. It's supposed to be if you can't go to a Paracon, well, here, you can attend one on your computer. It, though, was the reason that I brought in co-host on Paranormal Filler, because if you do two shows and you deal with the same topics, both shows are going to sound alike.
Right.
So I decided to give Paranormal Filler kind of a facelift this year, and I brought in intelligent, talented female co-host, because we both know how important that is.
Yes.
And then ihuntghost.com, it's almost on hold now. That was my website back when I was an investigator. Now I use it to write a blog every now and then. Like right now, if you go to the front page, other than an outdated Scarefest banner, there's a couple of dream logs that I recorded that I'm supposed to be doing all the time, and I don't. But it's really, it's more of an outlet. It's not, I don't use it for advertising a lot, other than it holds my event calendar where people from all over the country can send me events to get advertised for free. It has all of my network feeds on it. So if anybody, I'll put it this way. If you own a cell phone or a computer, the only excuse to not listen to me is you find me reprehensible.
Well,
because you can find me anywhere.
That's that's what we're all about. I like being out there, and I like the way you're doing that. It's definitely the ease of operation is going to get you the most listeners. I mean, it's be out there as many places as humanly possible. I agree with you, man. Tell us, you mentioned Scarefest. How was Scarefest? Tell us how that went this year.
I had a wonderful time this year. Made a lot of contacts. Oddly enough, I did not get to book my show as far in advance as I usually do. I was okay. It was a gimmick, but it was a fun gimmick. One thing I did, I gave away autographed pictures. Now the catch on it was the pictures cost $1 unless you let me autograph them. Then they were free, and so I got autographs all week. It made me feel like a big dog.
Awesome.
But I do have to say the highlight of my weekend, this little kid, and I mean itty bitty, the kind, speaking, but maybe 5-6 years old tops, came up to my booth with his mom, and she said, "Well, ask him." Well, he was too shy. She handed me his program, and he wanted me to autograph his program. Now, I have no illusions that this kid had any idea who I was, except that I was the one guy on Celebrity Row that was saying that I would do free autographs.
Yeah.
That made me feel so good.
Yeah, but that kid will remember that. It took me a while I love doing the autographs for the fans, and because I do a lot of other stuff other than paranormal, and it's just a wonderful feeling. That feeling never gets old. We would always, after an event, I'm speaking of pro wrestling, after events, you have people out in the hallways, and that just never gets old. I mean, it's so that you change that kid's, that view of Star Row for that kid. He's going to think from here on out that most of those people are cool. So, which they are.
Well,
don't get me wrong.
They are. Everybody, I will say that all the celebrities at Scarefest this year, I didn't find any of them obnoxious or anything else, as I have sometimes in the past.
Well, good.
Now, there's a few that are more approachable, but God love you. I was right across the aisle from John Tenney.
Oh.
And we were and then just down to my left was Paul Bradford, and Paul Bradford right in the middle of the weekend started lobbing candy at us down the aisle. John and I are big buddies. Matter of fact, he's got a new show coming out called Ghost Stalkers, and I interviewed him briefly on Friday night. And my first question was, "John, do you realize how unfortunate that name is?" And he said, "Yeah, but he said that was the only name that they found that had no copyright issues, so that's what they went with."
Speaking of John, what I found odd about that a little bit was it just didn't seem like a John Tenney name show. You know what I mean? That's
exactly.
Well, he didn't name it, I'm sure.
He was always so against the whole paranormal celebrity, or I don't know how to put it.
He explained it to me. They gave him a list of names, and that was the least reprehensible.
Right.
Of the list that they gave him. But, a lot of it, and now that's one thing he said from back when he did Paranormal State the Next Class. He said the producers control so much of it. So that's one thing they did do when they went into this project, him and Chad Lindbergh.
Right.
He said that a lot of what they did, they said, okay, we understand we can only control so many things, but A, B, C, D, we have veto power. And he says, and he says it worked out really good for him. So I'm waiting for the episode to air so I can see if it really came across.
So Nick Groff had something to do with this too, right?
He is the producer. Now, what that actually means in TV terms, I have no idea, because I'm a radio guy.
Right. Right. Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, Nick was behind the project and brought in, and I'm sure with his contacts with John Tenney, I'm sure he picked the format and who was going to be on it.
It's that's actually one of the names I had penciled down for future guest. Is I was like, we got to get Tenney on, because I've always put him over so big. It was I I remember talking about this before. Tenny's the guy that the other paranormal people listen to. He's the guy that the ghost hunters go to see lecture, and I always thought
he's amazing. The man amazes me. He does not let on how smart he is. When you talk to him, every now and then I have to remind, because I forget what it was. He brought up something, and I'm like, wow, you know that word, let alone what it means.
Right.
But
no, I'm with you, man. I'm a huge Tenny mark.
He's very intelligent. He doesn't rub your face in it. And what my favorite thing about him, though, he somehow he is better even than I am at looking at everything from a skeptical viewpoint, even though he believes in the paranormal.
Right.
Even if a ghost walked up and shook him and said, I'm a ghost, and did whatever ghosts do, 10 seconds later, he's the kind of guy that would go, well, wait a minute, did that really happen? What type of proof do I have?
Right. No, I agree. I totally agree. And that's he's unique and in that aspect. And also his views on a lot of parts of it, of the paranormal are unique in that aspect. And, it's if anybody ever gets a chance out there to go see him do a lecture, to see him at an event, or to watch that show there, I'm sure it'll be incredible there. But speaking of, we were talking about Scarefest. We were talking about, I know the last time we interviewed Wes, which will never see the light of day, and no one out there knows what we're talking about here, but sometimes, as Wes mentioned at the first of this episode about his show, sometimes things happen during an interview.
Technical difficulties.
And, we used to just have to go with it when we were doing the live thing. And,
right.
But I want to tell you, Wes, something funny. We're at an active location. We do this show. That's sort of the thing about it. We do this show at an active location. It's a location that I actually investigated, 5-6 years ago. And now, the caretaker of the place, if you will, has built this studio, has a big history in the business, and but it's a very active location. And on our interview that we did, that will never see the light of the day, the Eddie and the Cruiser season in hell, if you will, it was a great interview. But when you started mentioning something about not being I don't know how to put it. When
you're afraid to say it in front of them again?
Yeah, kinda. But
I think we were talking about maybe you not being affected.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That can't affect you. That you are, I don't know, indestructible to it.
Right.
Anyway, when you said that on cue, the audio drops out. And then when you mention again later in the interview, you mention again about being able to clear a place and that you're not scared of them. Once again, the audio drops out. And I believe in coincidences, and a lot of things can be explained by coincidences. But other than that, it was a perfectly fine show. Mm-hmm. And it was just really funny how they were like, "Oh yeah. Here's something we can do."
Well, gee whiz, if the best they can come up with is to mess around with my telephone, that's easy.
Oh, here it goes. Here's where the studio light falls on my head.
Exactly.
Tell them to buy an AT&T uniform and they can stand in line to mess my life up. So.
What, Wes? What was? Let's go back a little bit. What was the event that got you into the paranormal? Was it just was it watching the TV shows, being an enthusiast, or was it actually something else?
When it gets right down to it, as far as my interest in the paranormal, I've always had an interest in paranormal. I was always reading the books when I was a kid. Now, oddly, when I was a kid, I was more fascinated with Bigfoot, ufology, Loch Ness Monster,
right?
All the unsolved mystery books. I really didn't get into ghosts that much. But now I am one of the few people in the world that will tell you that I am active in the paranormal field today because I watched TV. I saw Ghost Hunters, I saw Paranormal State, I saw Ghost Adventures, and first few seasons, I did not miss a show. But now I will say I was one of those people that when I would hear them say something that didn't fit into my little belief structure, I'd say, well, no, that doesn't mean that. No, that's not what a cold spot means. No, that's not what an EMF reading means. So, but I enjoyed the shows. But finally, I had a chance to go on a ghost hunt, and it was an amateur hunt. It wasn't a public hunt. There was only a few of us, but the people going on it, including myself, did not know how to ghost hunt. I had an infrared camera that had never been used in the dark. I had a digital recorder that I used for a sport judging that I was involved in. And I had a flash camera. That was the extent of my equipment. And I went in and did this ghost hunt, caught absolutely nothing that I would call evidence, had a couple of experiences that kind of were neat, but it lit the fire in me. I could not wait to get back in the field. I started doing the serious research about how the equipment worked, about proper methodology, as far as you can research that, because it's according to who you listen to. But it really lit the fire under me. Then I was going along doing normal data-related investigations, just collecting data, posting pictures on the internet, getting some really good audio from places. And then I did a place called the Cardome Center in Georgetown, Kentucky. And that night changed my outlook on the paranormal. Quite basically, I'd already done at that time, I'd already done Bobby Mackey's, I'd already done Waverly, and I had not really had anything get in my face at all. Well, when I did this place, nothing got in my face there, although we did have some of the most intense experiences we'd ever had. But the girl standing next to me, who was pretty much had kind of glommed onto me, glommed, that's a terrible word. She kind of attached herself to me and was following me around and helping me. I mean, it was a symbiotic relationship, and she was really wanting to learn about some of the methodology that I was using. But so she was doing the same things I was doing, and she, late in the evening, got what most of us perceived to be an attachment. She was attacked by something. It made her sick. Had to be taken. We took her outside. Some people that were trained in the metaphysical, if you like that word, broke the attachment. She's fine. But so that lit this thing in me. Well, wait a minute. Why did that happen to her? I'm open-minded. I'm wanting the experience. I'm not a strong person. I smoke. I have an addictive behavior. I've got all the weaknesses, I would think, that would open me up to, if not an attachment, making me think that I had an attachment.
Right.
Well, after that night, I started looking into it. I went to a psychic fair, and it's funny. I walked in the psychic fair and I said, I made an appointment with a psychic, and while I was standing around, people saw I was new, and they asked me, and I said, well, basically, nothing touches me in the paranormal. I said, I'm not, I want to know why I seem to be so protected, and people around me are not. And these people look at me like, you don't know? And what it is, everybody at a psychic fair can see auras.
Right.
So everybody in the building can see auras except me. So, several of them explained to me, but then the psychic went in and she explained it more. And so then that took me on this whole quest of finding out whether or not I'm Teflon coated or bulletproof.
Right.
But but it really took me it opened me up to what I would call the metaphysical side of the paranormal that previously I had just pretty much ignored.
Right. No, that's very interesting, man. And it's that's my side of the paranormal, you could say, but that's something that really, when your eyes do get open to that, it's a whole new experience, if you will, and it really changes the way your outlook is on life. It changes your outlook on death, and in very big ways. I know that we spoke before, about you being a light and about your clearings that you've been able to do. See, it's very interesting, but you talk about going to Bobby Mackey's, and I won't pretend that we haven't talked about this before, but I'll just catch everybody up to speed that anybody who has tuned into this show knows what Bobby Mackey's is. I'm not going to, question your intelligence on that. Obviously, you like the paranormal enough to listen to a paranormal internet show. You probably have watched something that has Bobby Mackey's on it. And in doing so, you've heard the terrible stories, the demons, the attachments from hell and everything else. So, and the stories of, was it Pearl Bryant? And
I don't remember.
the stories of the death. Well, Wes actually has been brought into Bobby Mackey's in the past and has had nothing, affect him in that same way that countless people have. And that gets me to his sort of corner of the market, if you will, and it's a psychic ability. It's just like the anti-psychic ability of being able to...
He's an anti-psychic.
Yeah, he's being a clearer. If you could go into that a little bit about how you can clear places, or what it seems so. I know this is a developing thing, but tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, I am the blunt object of the paranormal. A lot of psychics, I've amazed psychics with what I'm able to do, but at the same time, I don't really have a good control over what I do. In other words, I go in and I come up with a way to do it, and I do it. Bobby Wanda, I had worked with her. Actually, to not make it too long, we had went on an event there, the psychic that I work with regularly, and we had met Wanda, who was the main tour guide at Bobby Mackey's at the time. And she had, I guess you could say, she had some aces in her pocket. She knew some things that were not public knowledge of activity in the building. And the psychic and I basically went through and was able to communicate with that activity in a way that really impressed her. So for a while, anytime something really nasty would happen at Bobby Mackey's, an attack or something like that, she would call us in to quell the activity. She didn't really want it gone, which I consider a weakness in Bobby Mackey's. They want that tourism aspect, and if you get rid of all the ghosts, you've got to... So we never really did a clearing on Bobby Mackey's. We crossed over some spirits that indicated they wanted to, removed some that were not cooperative, but that was when Ghost Adventures did their throwback, or whatever they call it, episode on Bobby Mackey's. The two stories that they highlighted on that episode, we were called in on after both of those things to quiet the activity down.
Right.
Now, as far as Mackey's, is it a portal to hell? No, I really don't think so. I think that it is, because of its reputation, people go in there asking for so much negativity that the spirit world obliges.
Right.
And I'm not going to, I see no indications that it is infested with demons, but at the same time, there is some negative stuff that is there that if you dial the right number, you might just find it.
Right. And I agree with you. It's a lot of times, if you go into a place over and over, and we've covered this for years, the energy from night after night of these people, a lot of who are sensitive from, doing ghost hunting in the first place, go into the same place and you throw all of your energy, especially if it's a certain name or a certain area or a certain room, room 501 or whatever. I mean, it's, you go into, you pour so much energy into this place, you create this yourself. And, it's possible. I'm just saying it's possible that a lot of times this, it's almost counterproductive. I don't know. The whole thing with the paper booze, and that's what I've always called them. I worry about what they're going to end up being, because we haven't seen this. There's no regulations to the paranormal. There's no certain rules that we have to abide by, and there's guidelines, sure, but every place will say, we don't want you conjuring, Beelzebub today. But do you really know, what they're doing? No, you don't know what they're doing. And the very fact that we're pouring all this stuff in over and over, I agree with you, man. It's hard to tell what this is going to be 5 years from now, Well,
one thing I always said about Bobby Mackey's, it was one of the places that brought me to the conclusion that the ghosts that we're dealing with are not always who they say they are. Everybody darn near that goes in Bobby Mackey's gets an EVP from Pearl Bryant. Psychics will go in and say, we talked to Pearl Bryant. I'm going to tell you, Pearl Bryant has left the building. Bobby Mackey's has had more priests go through it than Vatican City. There is no way that the original set of ghosts still inhabit that place. But it stays active. Now, first of all, it's a paranormal cliche. It's got railroad tracks, old high voltage lines right over top of it. Sits on a limestone shelf. It's 50 foot from the frickin' Licking River. It's an old building, and so every paranormal cliche applies to this building. So I do believe the place is a magnet. I don't like to say it's a portal or a vortex, because I think there is a portal or vortex there, but once again, I think it's man-made. I don't think there's anything natural about it. I think so many people go in there poking at the veil, as we call it,
right,
trying to get stuff to come through. Yes, you poke at something long enough, you'll poke a hole in it.
They opened it.
But so that is my synopsis of Bobby Mackey's.
Wow, it's it's still an interesting ability, and I'll be interested to keep tabs and see where this progresses. If you do find a way to turn that on and off, it could be very useful for a lot of people, going through certain problems, and, even on individual residential calls to be able to come in.
So far my success rate is very high. I limit what I tell people my abilities are because I don't know what they are. I don't know how they work. At first we called it the voice. And then we called it the voice because right away psychics said, ghosts listen to you. They could go in and they would, matter of fact, a couple of times they thought that we had residual activity. There's a woman in the corner, but she's not acknowledging us. Boom, here comes Wesley, and all of a sudden the psychic is talking to a ghost in the corner. So, but we've really, I don't know if it's a matter of personality. I don't know if it is a matter of the light that I carry, or if maybe that's why I'm successful in radio, because my voice carries through the veil. I don't know.
That's funny that you say that. I don't believe in residual activity. I just don't. And I've went on record saying that many times. One of the reasons for that is I believe that we can pull a ghost out of walking that same staircase.
Exactly. Thank God bless your heart, John. I have preached about that and preached about that.
Well, that's cool, man. We have a lot of the same views anyway, but I do believe that lady is looking out the window waiting for her husband to get home, but that we can tap her on the shoulder and say, honey, he's not coming. I think that is possible. And that's what people get from these quote unquote residuals. I've had too much interaction that I just don't think that there is residual.
I agree, and my challenge to psychics, because now it's hard to prove any activity, let alone. But if a psychic ever comes to me and says, "Okay, there's a residual haunting at this location. I know it's there." My challenge is I will go in and I will make the entity talk to you. Nothing in nature. The theories behind the classic definition of residual haunt, that it's stored in the stone. Now, I'm not saying they can't enhance the energy involved.
Right.
But I even had one guy that swears that because these old buildings have rusty nails in them, rust is what's used on cassette tapes. It's that process. The iron in the nails in the building records it just like you do on a cassette tape.
Wow.
The problem I have with all of those is that there is no other repeatable instance of that in nature or technology.
Right.
You can take a videotape. Now, videotape has or a DVD. Let's upgrade it to this century. Take a CD or a DVD that has a lot of data on it. All that data is stored there. Lay it on your desk. Do something to make that song play. It has to have some type of interaction. So my theory is when we experience something that we would call residual, it is either A, ignoring the hell out of us because it doesn't think we can see it. So after a while, why would you even bother? And also now, my hedge on this is sometimes I think they project what we would perceive as residual activity. In other words, one intelligent ghost can project an entire surrounding to us.
Right.
The example would be if you see a soldier carrying his gun riding a horse.
Right.
I doubt the horse's ghost is there. I just can't wrap my head around that. The gun of the ghost is definitely not there. However, by definition, you could call those two things residual activity tied to an intelligent haunt.
Right. And I think that spirits, I think that, you know, and this is a whole other conversation, but I think that they create their own construct that, you know, what is the afterlife for this ghost that died here in 1930? It looks different for the ghost that died in the same place in 1950.
Exactly.
I believe whatever was in the mind, any memory, is what is the construct that they create for themselves to abide by, if you will, to live by. And, you know, the thing I've always said on residual activity, Wes, is to me, if residual activity was the actual thing, that it's so much more rare than, you know, intelligent activity, that because on all of my investigations, and I have been on a shaitan, I've not had any proof really of the residual activity that I would, you know, concrete say that's just a residual noise. Or, I mean, I have had something that didn't make sense. Like I've had something that said like 50 cents or, you know, beer can or something like that. But it's not, it would be so much more magical, like you're talking about, if the Stones could record it, you know?
I came up with the idea, every story that you hear about residual haunts, they talked about one on Ghost Hunters, or actually a couple of different ones. People may see the same thing 100 times, but there's always this one story where, and then the ghost looked at me.
Right.
And that's what got me thinking, well, that tells me that although he was going about his business thinking he was, you know, you were not there, he was not there, however you want to look at it, at some point it occurred to him, oh shit, somebody sees me.
Right.
And so that's what started me, and then everything that I've experienced in the meantime falls right into place with that we define residual activity the wrong way.
Yeah, I agree. I won't completely discredit everybody who has made a hell of a lot more successful career than us. You know, they've put these defined parameters out there of, and that's the thing that gets me is it's either this or this, and we're not even going to talk about that. You know, and they pigeonhole it really. And, you know, if you talked about Ghost Hunters, go Ghost Hunters, go back to season 1 of Ghost Hunters. You had a demonologist, season 2 or 3, you had them talking about nature spirits, you know, going over to Ireland and, you know, actually talking about elementals or elementaries and going through all that. And it kind of goes down more to the, well, I think this might be an intelligent ghost trying to mimic demonic activity. Or, you know, it's either one of two things. And I think people try to explain too much that is unexplained, you know? It's just really interesting, man. Like I said, we could talk about this for weeks probably, but let me go to my next question here. I'd like to ask whenever I interview a fellow paranormal host about their feelings on a number of different paranormal related topics. Because you were talking earlier that, you know, you liked, as a kid, you liked things other than a paranormal. You liked cryptozoology or Loch Ness Monster and stuff like that, which we've still loosely defined in the paranormal field. You know, me personally, as a child, I remember Leonard Nimoy, the In Search Of, and with Bigfoot, and oh my God, that was some wonderful stuff. But give your thoughts on a couple of different things here in the field, because I know you cover all of it. What about like ufology?
I do believe that we are being visited by someone or something. The only thing is, I'm still riding the fence about it, but I'm very open to the possibility that these things are not traveling from a bazillion light years away as we would perceive it, but are rather from, well, for lack of a better terminology, an alternate dimension.
Right.
Someone that has mastered the ability to travel between dimensions and for whatever reason has an interest in us, whether it be good or bad. So I don't think the whole EMC equals whatever, faster than light travel has a whole set of problems. Gravity's a bitch, inertia, all that stuff. So the stories, so many of the stories, if you compare them to what we find in the paranormal ghostology side of it, actually have a lot of commonality, except for the big silver ship.
Right.
So,
yeah, definitely.
So that's really, that's how I look at it. I believe in it, but I'm really open to finding out more about the interdimensionality of it.
You and I have talked before about the alien abductions and stuff being really close to the same thing you're going to get on a like a poltergeist case or a paranormal case. It's the similarities are striking, actually.
Yeah, especially in abduction cases, they mirror extreme cases of what commonly, the Hague syndrome or sleep paralysis or whatever.
Right.
With just a different story behind it, but the symptoms themselves are so similar that now can we dismiss it as sleep paralysis and a big dream? That's a discussion to be had. But because there are so many similarities, and honestly, if you as bad as no, it's not a bad show. I love the show, Ancient Aliens. But it's a wonder they can even give you the title of the show without saying, "Are you watching Ancient Aliens?"
Yeah. Yeah.
But they do bring up a lot of really neat things, that the similarities between our religious artifacts and alien artifacts. So, I roll religion into the paranormal. So to me, it's not that much of a stretch to roll the alien phenomenon into that same cluster.
No, yeah, man. I probably one of my favorite shows, man. That's Giorgio is just classic. And
I just once I want him to make a definitive statement, just one time. A lot of people that we've had on the show has been, I think, a cast of characters from Ancient Aliens, like over the years, over the shows. The cryptozoology, which we also talked about, your love for Nessie, and the all things Bigfoot at a certain time. And I know your stance on this because it's the same as mine. Cryptozoology, it's too broad of a field to just give you an overall thing. So if you break it down, Nessie, I really think that it's a real animal. Might only be a couple of them, really hard to find, really deep in the water. Them, I'm convinced, if they're not there now, they were at some time. Chupacabra, yeah, kind of on the fence about that, but I know, down in Texas, they had that thing that everybody said didn't exist for years. They were calling it chupacabra, and all of a sudden, somebody has one in their freezer because they hit it with a car. So, these things do happen.
Right.
There are things we haven't discovered. Bigfoot, I fall back kind of like I do ufology. So many people are stomping around the woods looking for these things, and the best they can come up with is a really bad cell phone picture. It tears me up. So I'm kind of leaning. I do believe there's something going on, but once again, we might have some type of intelligent creature that, whether in other words, interdimensional. Now, whether he's coming and going at will, or whether this is something that maybe they can't control. Maybe they just pop into our reality when they scratch your arm a certain way. Who knows? But I really think that's why we don't have a Bigfoot carcass to put on display.
Oh my God!
I don't think they're here all the time.
I'm telling you, man, I just got this funny picture of Bigfoot scratching his arm and going in and out of dimensions. I think that's a whole show to itself. That's that's freaking great. All right, man. We've actually covered the demonology segment of it, and I don't know if you're as close into conspiracy theories as I am, but your shows will develop into conspiracy theories before it's over with. I promise.
I have no doubt. I've had a few thrown my way. And right now, the conspiracy theories that I get are kind of related to other things. So, in other words, like I had a ufologist on that thinks there's a conspiracy. I'm not anti-conspiracy theorist because crazy people do crazy things for crazy reasons.
Right.
I do. A lot of conspiracies, though, I have trouble with once they reach a certain level. There's just too many people that would have to be involved. And so then, I don't ignore it and I don't dismiss it, but at the same time, I've heard some things said on the internet that I just go, oh, come on. Because sometimes the simplest answer is the right answer.
Right. Well, you have to be careful, man. There's a lot of information suppliers out there that I truly believe are meant to make something look ludicrous. I think that a lot of times there is a well-founded theory, and then somebody will be like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to make sure there was a 3-tittied alien in there too. And, and everybody all of a sudden will then laugh at it and laugh them out of the room. That was one of the first jobs of the UFO commissions was to smear everybody and make bad information.
Disinformation.
Yeah, the disinformation campaign. That was one of the first things ever done by the government that's really known is that there's been whistleblowers on. So I think they do that in all fields of conspiracies. Personally, they try to make it seem like caca. Man, what do you think? You like to use the word caca?
I did. I was trying not to laugh. I'm sorry.
Your show must air earlier in the night than mine because I would never use that word. Go ahead.
I try to use the enhancers there sometimes. What's the future hold for Wes Forsythe? What's the future hold for more fault the paranormal filler?
Okay, because let's from the radio standpoint. And if this doesn't happen, by the way, I will probably drop out of the field, not because I'm disappointed, but because so many psychics had told me this is what's going to happen. And if I can't believe a damn psychic, who can you believe? My goal with Paranormal Filler, well, actually less with Paranormal Filler, but radio in general, is to get a paying gig. I will admit it. I don't care about the fame. I'm happy right now with the fact that famous people know who I am. I think that's cool as hell. But I will say that I am human, and as I get older, money matters more and more to me. And I realize that I cannot go on spending hundreds of dollars every month supporting, this habit. So,
right.
So basically, my goal is to get the show to a level, get my talent to a level where somebody says, hey, let's give this guy a chance and write him a check to do his show. Now, that being said, Paranormal Filler, if I can keep it without, words of, I don't have to sign the rights to that away, I will always, I love the format, I love the way I do it, and I love that I have so many websites, not just podcasting sites, but just websites in general that put my feed on their website to share with their visitors. So that is so flattering that I almost cannot wrap my head around not doing Paranormal Filler.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's very cool, actually. And speaking of which, man, we really have loved the scene where you've grown to. Stacey and I were talking about this the other day. It's really cool to us where you've went to, and we always really liked you, and I personally always liked your views, and it's a lot of the similar theories, and but really happy for you. Couldn't be happier, actually. And I think all that stuff will happen definitely for you, and the paying gig and all that. But one more time, do that radio guy stuff and give us all your shilling information there for the people out here listening.
Okay, I do have one extra plug to throw in, but of course, Paranormal Filler, my weekly show, it's on Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. Originates at liveparanormal.com. You can go to ihuntghost.com and find all the places that carry my show. Also, Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, I do a little thing called the Paranormal Icon. It's not available in quite as many places, but find it the same way. Now, one plug I do want to throw in, I'm doing my last event of the year. It's at the Ross Opera House in Cynthiana, Kentucky. I'm one of the headliners there for the event. It's a very haunted location. It's the location that I learned how to ghost hunt in.
And the location you got some of the best evidence.
Yes, absolutely, yes. Actually, evidence so good that it has jaded me for other evidence. So it's the 18th. It's a Saturday. If 18th or 19th in October, whichever is a Saturday. But that shows you how busy my life is right now. But you can go to liveparanormal.com. They've got a link on the front page for details on that. But if you want to go to a real haunted location, we're going to have speakers all day and then do a ghost hunt that night. It is a great location, and I would love everybody that we can fit in the building to come see me.
And that is Saturday, October 18th. So
that sounds good.
So right before Halloween, and everybody's going to be in that mood anyway. And I can tell you, because he's got some really great evidence out of that building, and it could be a game changer. So if you're in that area or in going to be traveling through that area, I definitely would go see Mr. Forsythe there to get the pants scared off of you. So, man, we've appreciated it. We've loved having you on here, and hopefully we'll do this thing again. And I might even make it live eventually, so you can't mock me. So, thanks a lot, Wes.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that was always such a good time talking to him, man. It's the views that he has are so similar
to yours.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
They're so similar, except he has his filter removed a little bit. So it's
you do sometimes.
I do sometimes.
Yes.
So, but Wes Forsythe, and once again, it's ihuntghost.com, Paranormal Filler, Live Paranormal, and go to the event. If you're anywhere near there, just go to the event, because everybody wants to see a ghost, and you will. So that's and if not, Wes will be happy to not refund your money. So
there you go.
All right, as always, Wes Forsythe delivered the goods for us. I have to pull myself away on him. If you go back through this episode compared to other episodes, this one will be the one that says hour 40 minutes.
Yeah. You guys, honestly, you guys could talk probably for. He was right about. He wasn't joking about the breaking into 2-hour shows.
Oh yeah, it's when we could take any subject though and really go into it. And like I said, I love to see where he's come from coming from a guy who shared, who came to our booth and asked if he could stand there, to being on Star Road.
Right.
At Scarefest. That's cool to me, and it's something even cooler about that is the fact of maybe we, being nice to him there, helped him along a little bit. And that's what this field really needs. It needs more people being like, hey man, that's cool, hang out with us. And or come on our show. And I think that's one of the really cool things about this whole story. Yes. Is that
I agree.
I really dig him. I dig talking to him and his wife.
Yes.
And
I think it's funny because I suppose when you get two guys together that both do radio shows and are used to stretching what they're saying into a big conversation, it's like a never-ending conversation. There's some kind of weird loop going on there. So anyway.
And this is going to be one of those episodes also. If you notice something weird on the audio, you may want to go back and look for some EVPs, because this, like we said, this is an active haunted location. And, director and
I think we heard some on like one of the episodes before.
We were hearing something in here on this episode, so it might be worth another listen. Anyway, Facebook.com/Third Side. That's spelled out. On Facebook, that's the way to get a hold of us. One of the best ways, really, to find out.
The website, too.
And hit the like button. For the love of all that's holy. When you go on there, hit the like button. It's just a sweet little button, and it just wants to be loved. Hit the like button, because we like to have likes. We really...
Everybody likes to be liked.
Everybody likes to be liked, right?
Yes.
Twitter is @3sidepara.
@3sidepara. And we do tweet a lot of stuff. I mean, news articles. And I try to retweet things I see that are
We are serial tweetists. We really are.
Yes.
All right. And you tell them about that beautiful website.
ThirdSideParanormal.com, all spelled out. Great looking website, if I do say so myself. There's lots of interesting stuff on there. Go read all the links you need to find, anything you need to find. I am going to add links for other paranormal type websites and things. I haven't gotten to that part yet. But if you want to be linked on our website, and because you have a website, just send me a message.
Yeah,
and I'll link up for you.
Stacey puts this nice blog out. It's if you like the news of Stacey, you should really go read the blog, because she's just as witty in written form as she is in
maybe not as witty
spoken form. Actually, and the cool thing about it is, I don't take that blog and then write words in between what she's put. So if you want to just get the news uninterrupted, that's the best way to do it. Facebook.com/Third Side, Twitter @3sidepara, thirdsideparanormal.com.
YouTube channel,
just search Third Side. And as always, for my lovely wife Stacey, my name's John Edwards. So long from the Third Side.